Well, we wanted to know what to do about a cross. A freestanding altar is basically it's a revival of an ancient form, but it's basically a 20th century thing, late 20th century philosophical trend in the Episcopal Church, Roman Catholic too. Other denominations have followed suit. What to do about a cross? Can't put a cross on the altar. The priest would be facing right into the cross. That's no good. A lot of churches have hung a big, massive cross from the ceiling. A lot of churches have mounted a big, massive cross on the wall behind the altar. But you've got the windows up above and a very beautiful reredos, which we're saving. And I came up with the idea of mounting your existing cross, the brass cross, which is right here, and giving it a wooden backing to make it just a little bit bigger and dark wood like the reredos. Give it a little dark edge and heighten it and mount it right there. And I got the idea from the rood screen in Ely Cathedral in England. It's a screen that reminds me of your reredos, a lot of points, a lot of arches, and a lot of vertical design elements. And it has a cross mounted very high. It's a Greek cross, as is yours. All arms are equal. And then it has an element to elevate it higher, as I've shown here. And I'm proposing your same cross will still be the chancel cross, the altar cross, mounted high.
And then how does that fit in with those windows that are right here?
It rises above the windows, and when you're dead center, it'll be silhouetted. It's so thin, I wouldn't call it blocking the window. You'll still see the window, and you move just a little to one side into your pew, and then you get the view of what you don't have as you walk up the center aisle. It's very thin, and it won't appear. I don't believe it'll appear to be an obstruction in any way to those windows. Besides, it's 8 feet away from the windows, so as you walk, the two elements reveal themselves with that 8-foot separation.
Is that cross in scale to the drawing that you have there?
Yes. Yes. It's a little bit. We're showing it with a wooden backing that gives it a border, a dark border around the brass that'll make it stand out a little better, and that gives it a little more mass.
Is there a communion rail that fits in the center there during communion, or is that
Right there.
going to be open?
Open. The committee has decided to have it open, and it's 7 feet wide, same width as your altar. And we're using the same altar. Here it is. It's the same width as that. It's now about 4. So if you want to kneel, the entire rail is still there. And if you want to stand, you can stand anywhere, but particularly in the middle.
There's actually additional railing on the side, so we've got more space there than what we have today.
Yeah, just before the centerfold, if you look at the nave floor plan, on this sketch, this little engaged column marks the chancel arch. So the chancel and the rail extend just a few feet into the nave, not the 12 feet that the choir presently extends, but just a few feet, and you get a couple little short returns at each end that'll accompany at least 3 people. Yes?
At this point, it should be said that the communion stations presently in use downstairs at each end would be eliminated.
Right.
Because the traffic, everyone will go to the altar rail, and the traffic flow will be much smoother.
Thank you. You reminded me, Bill. I want to emphasize how much better your traffic flow is going to be than it is now when you're all up here in the chancel, which is, although it's 24 feet wide, it's relatively narrow, and you have to exit. The first time I came here, I didn't know which way to turn, and I bumped into people. But some people go out this way, and some people, I went straight down, but I don't know if that was going the wrong way on a one-way street. But everybody will just flow off to the right. There's no obstruction. You don't have to decide to go through another space or no. It'll just flow and be very, very much faster. Not only a few people longer, but it'll flow much faster and smoother. We spent a lot of time at the west end of the church. Now here's the center door, the center aisle. You're looking south. You're looking behind me at the very west end of the building. For one thing, the west doors, they're double acting or swinging doors, they have been locked open by hardware on this side of the wall, and they only stick out about 8 inches, but when they're locked open, they make quite an obstruction across here. It's already only about 30 inches. It's very, very narrow as it is. And they were once pews, you know. These pews once went hard to the wall. So one set of pews on either side has been taken out in recent years. But the doors did open in, and in the process of our study, we've opened them out, hooked them open to the outside, and it just makes all the difference in the world through this aisle. I hope all of you heard Bill a few weeks ago talk about the oblations. They are now in this pew, but we're going to prepare a permanent pedestal in that pew. Now it can be removed if the whole tradition changes, but it's not going to be a wobbly thing. A permanent pedestal in that pew, and the oblations will be raised up a little bit and clearly visible as you enter the church and pass by. I won't begin to duplicate what Bill has said about that. He's done it so well. But the importance of the oblations has been made very clear, and we will make a physical manifestation of that importance by stationing them right there. We spent a lot of time on this little part of the project. We can't help but get involved in history. We had to raise some of the gallery flooring to look at the structure under the galleries to determine if it was strong enough to accommodate people at full occupancy. Right now, the galleries are usually rather empty, but we wanted to allow them to be fully occupied with all the seating we provide. So we looked under the floor in 5 different places. We found iron tie rods from each column going up the angle of the ceiling, and on the outside, let me make that clear. On the outside, at every column, you have this pilaster. And at the top of the gallery, there's a patch in the brick. On every pilaster, right there, patch in the brick. And that showed us that the galleries were added as an afterthought, and your history says that. A few years after this was built, there was a fire. They repaired the fire damage and added the galleries, just about 5 or 6 years after this was built. They didn't want the outside to show a star or an iron plate, which you expect. So they busted out a couple little bricks and put the plate behind the bricks and then patched it. This building's always been painted, by the way, so that didn't show anymore. When we looked under the floorboards, up at the outside wall, between the floor of the gallery and the ceiling under it, the walls are plastered and painted white. So they were exposed walls, which are now covered by a thickness like this from the ceiling below to the floor above. Again, proving that the galleries were added after the building was finished. Just a little historical thing we can get excited about. It doesn't mean a thing to what we're doing, but we like that kind of thing.
So are the galleries safe now?
Yes, they are. They're as built. They can accommodate the human load up there. Yes. The gallery floors are extremely squeaky, if you've ever noticed. And if we expect the galleries to be used, we want to get rid of that squeak. And we're proposing to take up the flooring very carefully. I haven't mentioned a sprinkler system. We're putting in a sprinkler system for fire protection. Taking up the floor allows running the pipes for the sprinkler system to do the lower level. We will see 100% of the structure, not 5 representative places, but we'll see 100% of the structure that way. We can also run electric wires. The lighting under the galleries is no good. The lighting is aimed at the walls, and there isn't enough light. We're going to redo the lighting under the galleries. That'll all be wired while the floor is up, and then we put the floors down securely. The other thing we're going to do, each level of the gallery slopes about almost 2 inches. Each level slope's almost 2 inches. We're going to level that. It'll be easier, more safer to walk on, and more comfortable to sit. So all that gets done on the gallery floor. But most importantly, we get 100% of the structure. And we're looking for trouble because we want to find it before it happens.
Do we have a sprinkler system up there now?
Pardon me?
Is there a sprinkler system now? No?
Did you say a speaker system?
Right.
Oh, no, you have no fire protection at all. And we're proposing that the entire building to have a sprinkler system. The only important thing we're doing outside are the lights that illuminate these windows above the altar. In this maze of this fantastic electrical construction, it's one of the most fantastical electrical structures you'll ever see. In the maze back there, there are 3 sets of lights from the bottom that illuminate these windows. It's very difficult and dangerous to change the bulbs, for one thing. You can't put a ladder up from either from the alley or your churchyard and get up there high enough without running into the wires. Most ladders are aluminum, and you just don't want to do that. You can get a lift that goes up and zigzags and gets over, but that's complicated and expensive each time just to change the bulbs. We've had a lighting consultant look at the whole property, and this was one of the major things the lighting consultant looked at. And his opinion is the lights ought to be up high, shining down, not down low, shining up. And he immediately said that that would give us a greater illumination on the window, to put them high, looking down. Then to change the bulbs. All bulbs have to be changed. There'll be a winch in the attic over the chancel. I've been up there. There's plenty of room up there. It will electrically lower the light heads by a switch down near the ground, change the bulbs, and push the button down near the ground, and the lights go back up and engage themselves to the bracket. So we don't have to go back. But that equipment was just on the tip of the lighting consultant's tongue. He immediately said, well, just do that. And that's what we're going to do. And to make, again, you can get to the attic through a trap door in the organ chamber, and you climb up into here. It'll be relatively easy to maintain the equipment. You desperately need more space for this church. You're using every square inch of it. We found just a few more square inches we want to propose, and that is to add a story on top of the flat roof. It's right out here. Add a story on top of this. Its cornice line would line up with the 3-story part of McGuire Hall, same cornice extended over. And on this end of the flat roof, the roof will peak right under these 3 arches. So that feature will all be visible. This will be enclosed within the new construction on top of this flat roof, and the door to it. Now this window now opens into the stairwell right out here. The door to it will be in this corner, and we'll have a corridor, a short corridor, into this new construction. The short corridor will be just one window length, one bay. We'll have 2 toilet rooms there, one of them accessible for people with disabilities.